Anchor FM, great place to start a podcast. You know, things are pretty crazy right now, as they say, as many have said. Start a podcast while you're at home, and you can distribute it for free with Anchor FM. Free distribution, free hosting. You can get an application on your phone to do so. So you got to check it out. Thanks, Anchor FM, for sponsoring the Triplefour podcast.
Triplefour.
Let's talk about it. Okay,
Triplefour podcast.
Yeah, he said this dude makes a meatwad fucking thing for no reason, and then he says Jim Norton.
Bob Dylan I find personally obnoxious, but the Beatles destroyed culture.
Oh my god.
I got Elon Musk to smoke weed in my Tesla the other day. It's not even a big fucking deal.
Things are crazy right now. You don't know shit, do you? We really didn't.
You know, you can't always get what you want, but you'll find sometimes that if you try,
You just might get it.
Oh, you get it!
Triplefour podcast, episode 36. It's here, and it is the first socially distanced episode of the podcast. Doing our duty to prevent contact with each other. Secretly, it's what I wanted the whole time.
I think about it.
We are living in the future.
We're living in a society, also.
Ah, shit.
As the famous Junker said.
So here's the thing that really, shook me yesterday was starting to read about, the purpose of all of these cancellations and things. I was looking at it from the angle of, not spreading the disease at all. But I think the whole point is not spreading it so quickly. And that I find interesting. I don't think a lot of, enough people are considering it that way. Because the whole purpose is to slow it down enough so that the hospitals aren't overwhelmed and that we can actually cope with the amount of sick people and give them the appropriate care.
Yeah.
And
I think I look at that. Oh, sorry.
No, good.
I was saying that, and that's the way I've kind of been thinking about it, more recently. Because now I'm like, this is kind of the chance of you yourself should be treating as if you have it already.
Mm-hmm.
And not as someone who doesn't have it. So, that should be the way you should be thinking of it right now. Because everyone's scared of it. But the thing is, it's not as big of a deal as we think about it if we take those necessary precautions and and realize that some of these things that have been placed, like social distancing and these cancellations of big events, happen for the sake of you're probably going to get it. And, the effects of it have symptoms similar to the flu, but it might be a little bit worse, But it's not overwhelming, the healthcare system that we have currently in place. And, having to not spread it towards people that are way more susceptible to people that are in our age range.
And I think, we're kind of waiting for the ball to drop a little bit,
Oh, absolutely.
Because I started thinking about, man, where have I been the past few days? And I realized how many times we were in places with a lot of people this past weekend. Yeah. And now I feel bad because I'm like, oh, well, guess we should have been acting like this the whole time. I mean, the hard part, another hard part for a lot of people to comprehend is the idea of well, I don't feel sick and I don't see anybody who's sick, so it's fine. But, since the symptoms can just hang out and not appear for up to 2 weeks or whatever, that's the difficult part.
Yeah, I think we already kind of saw, bared witness to that when, that person from St. Louis County went to the theater. That she broke out of quarantine because she didn't feel sick. She didn't, she didn't feel any symptoms of it, so therefore she is fine.
Is that what she said? She didn't feel sick?
I don't know if that's actually what she said, but instead of breaking out of quarantine, I assumed she thought oh, I don't feel, I'm not feeling bad or I'm not feeling under the weather, I can leave. Even though, number one, even breaking out of the fucking quarantine in the first place is terrible. And two, just because you're not feeling, you're feeling okay doesn't mean that just hanging out with anybody makes it okay to spread that.
The coronavirus is kind of like a weed edible.
It sucks.
Think about it. Sucks.
You're not wrong. I meant, you don't think that it's going to do shit until it's too late.
Right. You should tweet that. Start a Twitter, just tweet that. At Donald Trump.
Also, it's like also I was kind of now thinking more of like a perspective of an older person too. That's almost kind of thinking as.
My grandmother told me that they were talking about quarantining anyone over the age of 65. I'm going to be doing their grocery shopping for the weeks to come.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know if you've seen the videos from Italy of people all out on their balconies.
No.
Oh yeah.
I saw one where there was a guy DJing, and he was playing like fucking like Darude Sandstorm or something, and it's just like all these people.
I knew it.
And then I saw another one. It was like this huge block, all these people out on their balconies, and you could hear the audio from Hereditary playing really loud. It was like why is your face on your face? I don't know what it was, but it was like I don't know if it was real or not, but I thought it was funny. It was a funny idea. Like that should be the new meme, is like putting in different audio streams that were being played over in those Italian alleys.
They should be doing.
Yo.
They should be playing our podcast.
Oh.
Dan, did you just come up with the new one? We're going to live stream. We're going to start a band and live stream Italian Alleys.
Italian Alleys. Now, don't check us out at the sinkhole because you can't. Gatherings are canceled. I keep also thinking about like the historical perspective that we have right now. Like, you know how people always say like, where were you during 9/11? I definitely think that's going to be a thing in the future, is what did you do during coronavirus?
Absolutely. I was just talking about this with my grandparents earlier, and my grandpa commented saying that this is something you're going to be telling your grandchildren about, even though I probably won't ever have grandchildren. It's kind of crazy to think about.
Sorry,
It is. Because there's so many things. The first one that was pointed out to me was because Josh and I were in Rolla, Missouri, at Missouri S&T, and they have a huge St. Patrick's Day celebration every year.
Yeah.
And they told us, or one of the other students told us that the last time that had been canceled was World War II.
Jeez.
And then you hear about Disneyland's closed, and the last time that was like that, it's only been closed for like 9/11 and JFK's assassination, and
you know what? When I'll really be worried, when they close Party City.
because then we won't be able to get any more fake hats, fake cowboy hats and swords.
Yeah. And party balloons.
Great things. Great things.
Great things at Party City. Speaking of Rolla, we also had we were at Walmart a few days ago, and we were with our friend Joe, former guest of the podcast, and he's walking through Walmart, and the only things he was buying were coffee creamer, naked juice, and
I'm sorry.
whipped cream.
Did you just say naked juice?
Yeah, you know naked juice? It's pretty popular.
No.
Anyway, there's a juice brand called Naked
What?
Juice. I don't know. I have to explain
It's called
this.
Naked.
It's called
Yeah,
Naked.
That's the brand.
Okay.
You're gonna see it
Now
next
I know.
time. Yeah, you're gonna see it next time you're in the gross store, and you're gonna be like, oh, fair enough. But he had coffee creamer, whipped cream, and Naked juice, and coffee too, I think.
Yeah.
This guy in a dirty ass 3-piece suit, like a burgundy blazer, like a vest, a tie, and slacks. Like the suit was like it could have been all purchased at Goodwill. Strides past us, looks at all the stuff Joe's holding, and he goes, "Just got the essentials, huh?" Meanwhile, everybody's like scurrying around in panic mode, you know, and this one guy takes
Oh, dude.
takes out of his takes a moment out of his day to insult us.
Specifically us. I don't know
Was that-
why he wanted to target fucking Joe for that, but apparently that was on his mind as soon as he was walking into that Walmart.
You're real naked
Yeah,
juice fuck.
yeah. I was in there yesterday. I went to Walmart yesterday, and it was full apocalypse mode. They got nothing.
I'm wondering, like, eventually I'm gonna have to go get some food. Like, eventually.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they're gonna keep shipping stuff to grocery stores, right? I mean, there's no reason why they wouldn't.
Yeah.
So maybe in like a week.
Well, that was one of the things. Yeah, as far as jobs go, that's something I've been thinking a lot about because I'm going to have to find an alternative because the casino is going to close. I'm going to be out of a job. I can't just not work for 8 weeks. So I was thinking about what's something that I could do. And one of the things that I thought was, something like Schnook's Warehouse, but then you can't do that. That's all through seniority. You can't just get in there and get that job.
Well, I think what is going to happen, it might take a while, but I think there are going to be there's going to be some kind of executive order or a legislation or something to provide relief funds. Like today, Mitt Romney, suggested $1,000 every month for adults.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did see Jameson, the whiskey brand, donated a bunch of money to a program specifically for financial aid / relief for bartenders. But I would not qualify for this because you have to have been doing it for at least a year, and I have not. I've only been doing it since September.
And we're not even like just restaurants, because like they're, for the most part, I don't think actually closing restaurants. They're just like limiting it to go food or suggesting that you not go there.
Yeah.
But we are in casinos, which are major, contact points, obviously. So
yeah, lots of foot traffic, and also surfaces. Any of the machines, the slot machines and stuff like that. That's a great place for transferring germs, and I don't see them wipe those down a whole lot. Chicago is on martial law right now. They're not doing deliveries or carry out or any of that shit. Everything is fucking closed.
And that's what I was gonna say. We're in a really, it's gonna be a really weird time in like 2 weeks when all this stuff is kind of lifted up. Like I know that people have closed, buildings for until the end of March, and I'm waiting to see when the end of March comes, what changes.
When September comes.
Yes.
Yeah, you say that, but that's one of the things that Michael Osterholm was talking about on, dare I say it, the Bo Jogan podcast. He was saying that because this is so unprecedented, he was saying we've only began to scratch the surface. You realize this is going to go on for months. And he says we have only scratched the surface of the pain and suffering that this is going to bring.
Right, which is a part of what I said earlier about the current measures being taken are to slow it down as opposed to just not get it. So, you know what? I don't really want to get sick. Can I put that out there? I'm not feeling it.
No.
Let's just cancel COVID.
Dude, I didn't even think about that. They're canceling everything else.
Yeah, just cancel it.
Cancel COVID.
Okay, it's official. 444 podcast. COVID.
Canceled.
You're canceled.
You're done.
On the shit list.
Guys, we did it. We did it. We beat the pandemic. 444 podcast single-handedly toppled the coronavirus.
This also had me like on Wikipedia looking at past pandemics. I didn't realize, I guess I was 14 when H1N1 was popping. But that was like, that didn't hit as hard or whatever. I mean, like, what it said, almost, something but between 2.5 million people died, but I don't recall anyone being actually concerned at the time. Maybe it's because I was 14, but
Well,
Yeah.
this is definitely the most coverage that anything like this has ever gotten. But H1N1, I mean, I don't think they weren't really calling it that. They were just referring to it as a swine flu. I do remember hearing some of that. I guess if you were 13, Dan, how old are you now?
24. It was 2009 when that hit.
Okay, yeah, I was in high school. Yeah, no, you're kind of right. There wasn't a whole lot of, and certainly not the level of panic.
I think I knew more
I'm gonna have
about
scarred
the
flu.
Coney situation in 2012 than I remember the swine flu.
Definitely Coney, dude. Coney was
Yeah.
big.
I definitely remember more of that than I do remember swine flu.
All right, I'm having Scarch look up the numbers on H1N1.
Is Scarch in the room with you?
Yeah,
Dude, did he?
Got 10 feet between
he's
you.
immune. Yeah,
more.
6 foot rule.
6 foot rule.
Scarch, okay.
Yeah, so H1N1 was a pandemic. It says at least 18,000 laboratory confirmed deaths, estimated 151,000 to 575,000 deaths total. That's kind of a big
It's pretty
no.
big, yeah.
I mean, it's
Did you
a
say
Yeah.
You say 18,000 laboratory deaths?
laboratory confirmed deaths.
Laboratory confirmed.
I
What
don't-
the fuck does that mean?
I don't know. They just
What's the difference between total deaths and laboratory confirmed tests or deaths? Tests.
I-
Maybe it's more like estimated outside of the lab, because in the lab you actually know when a patient is, deceased. So if the people who aren't in the lab or in a hospital, they kind of have to estimate.
Huh.
That's what they said.
Okay. I see what you're saying. I can normally tell when people are dead.
Yeah, you did?
confirmed cases between 700 million and 1.4 billion, which, it's kind of a big net. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a pretty big margin.
I know. I guess people were just like dying out there in the jungle or something, and we just didn't know. We didn't count it for some reason.
Yeah, seriously, that's a way larger number than I even would expect.
Okay.
You'd be on a road trip and ask for directions somewhere, and they're like, yeah, it's anywhere between 20 and 300 miles that way.
So I guess Mexico was the origin for swine flu.
Oh, yeah, I think I remember that.
So I was looking at that for a while, and then I looked at the Spanish flu,
Well, that was the big one. That was the
Right.
biggest one.
which we just did not really talk about that in history class, did we? I mean,
I remember it coming up at some point, but no, we did not cover it to any real degree. We talked about the Inquisition.
the Spanish flu infected 500 million people, or about 27% of the population of the world.
That's
Which you got to think about that number too, 500 million, how many fewer people there were 100 years ago.
Which is 1.8 to 1.9 billion. The death toll estimated to have been anywhere from 17 to 50 million, and possibly as high as 100 million. Okay, they're just making shit up. They're just.
I don't believe it.
You know what? Just throw a number out there.
856 trillion. I don't know. Anyway.
Damn, that's crazy.
That is crazy. But must be infected 500 million and killed between 17 and 50. So that's like between 4 and 10% death. That's pretty wild. I mean, because COVID-19 is like 2 to 3%.
Right. Well, there's a lot of factors that go into that too.
Right.
Like I said, it's a 100-year difference. Obviously, we were not anywhere near as advanced in our medical field. We had a significantly smaller population globally, and obviously we're talking about a different virus that I guess it's hard to determine how much more deadly it was, because if you take into consideration the advancement of medicine, then by comparison to what's happening now,
I think a lot of them are. I think these are all connected, though. Like, Spanish flu and H1N1 are. Well, Spanish flu is H1N1. Swine flu and Spanish flu were the same thing, or very similar.
Well, that's what they were saying about COVID-19. That's why it's COVID-19, is because we have had other strains of coronavirus.
Yeah, we have. And there's one that was in like the mid 2000s. And I don't know if it was specifically in China or not, but there was one like that, and it wasn't as bad as this one.
I guess SARS and COVID are related.
Yeah, that was it. It was SARS.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so SARS wasn't as it was pretty. It was big, but it wasn't. I don't think it's nearly as like big in terms of media glorification than.
It was definitely a lot more contained.
Yeah, but
yeah.
there's already first trials, kind of already been done right now by a company called Moderna for the vaccine of coronavirus.
Where? Germany?
No, in Cambridge. Or not Cambridge, excuse me. Kaiser Permanente Washington Health Research Institute in Seattle.
Man, this is fucked up because both you guys got computers. I'm just spitting straight facts off the dome.
Well, bummer.
You know what? You're right.
And, a lot of people are going to be staying home, as they should. And you're going to have a lot of time on your hands. You're going to have plenty of opportunities to listen to the Triplefour podcast, the entire back catalog of which is available on all major streaming services. And you also might have some time for films.
Parasite, Midsommar, Jean-Luc Godard, Robert Eggers sucks. This is the time for films theme song. It's over.
So I watched something relevant yesterday.
Oh no, I still haven't watched it. I know what you're gonna say, and I've actually what's funny is that I've had so many people, at least 4 or 5 people this week, tell me that they were watching that, and they were like, I don't know why I am doing this to myself.
Steven Soderbergh's Contagion, which was based on the swine flu outbreak, or was inspired by that. See, the thing is, in that movie, it's a lot more easily spread, and it's more deadly. Like, I think the virus in the movie is like 20% death rate or something. And it's also really gruesome death. Like, it's, I forget what they called the thing that you got me.
Like your eyes are bleeding and you're...
Encephalitis, that's what it was.
Oh.
Is that anything correlation to syphilis?
No. Yeah. Actually, when you get the virus in the Contagion universe, you get to have sex, like, immediately. It's crazy.
What the fuck? Daily.
No, encephalitis is inflammation of the brain. And in the movie, Gwyneth Paltrow, she, like, fucking turned into, like, a gray zombie-looking thing before she dies. And there's, like, foaming at the mouth and everything.
Hell yeah.
So, yeah. It freaked me out, like, about 10 to 15% more. Like, definitely putting it in perspective. Well, that movie goes to the point of, like, there's fucking like looting and riots in the streets and like shit like that. So I don't think we're gonna get to that point.
It's not that far off.
And well, like people with masks on, like breaking into other people's houses and like stealing their food and straight up fallout.
What if the purge was right? Instead of like it's a government regulated thing, it's just because the virus is fucking breaking out.
That was the
last purge was awful.
The last movie they made?
No, well,
I think it was called The First Purge. The movie was called The First Purge.
Oh, yeah, the First Purge, not the Last Purge. No, the movie, The First Purge,
which was the last Purge movie that they made.
God, I hate it.
It also wasn't the first Purge movie.
True, which was called The Purge.
The Purge.
Fuck you, whoever did that.
But Contagion, it was decent. It's like a very like clinical, just like simulation of what it would be like. And it kind of shows all these different characters in different parts of, you know, it's like there's the government people, there's the CDC people, there's the journalists, there's the regular guy, there's
who's the regular guy?
Matt Damon.
Oh shit. Matt Damon is kind of a regular guy.
Yeah, I would say they picked a good one.
He's just a regular guy.
Regular dude.
Movies are another thing being affected.
Oh yeah, that is canceled as well.
Well,
I was gonna say,
canceled.
You announced Time for Films. I was gonna say Time for Films is canceled.
Well, AMC and Regal are still open.
Yeah, but they're limiting it to
50%.
Yeah.
Well, I checked on my AMC app, and it didn't really seem like 50%. I saw a whole bunch of people went to go see that movie, The Hunt. I'm gonna look at it right now and see what the seating looks like.
Yeah, look at like potential like showings tonight or tomorrow and see what happens.
Maybe it wasn't instituted yet. All right, let's look at Onward, the kids movie.
Full theater.
At the Dine-In on Olive, 7:45. All right, there's 4 people going, sitting right next to each other. All right.
Yeah.
With The Hunt, 8 o'clock. Looks like there are 7 people going to that, and 3. They're all there's a cluster of 5 of them, and then another couple. It's just weird to me.
Yeah.
I mean,
How do you look at headlines and then go say, you know what? A movie at the theater.
I'm gonna go see Onward.
It's fucking great right now.
Gonna risk the well-being of society for Onward.
You know, fucking 32-ounce soda fucking soda and a big ass tub of popcorn.
I did see last week. I went and saw The Way Back with Ben Affleck, and yeah, it's he's a alcoholic basketball coach.
Okay,
That's the movie. Ben Affleck, dude's an absolute unit at this point. Like, he is so thick right now. It's crazy.
Average dude.
Regular guy. Yeah, Matt Damon, regular guy. Ben Affleck, unit.
What is he? Is he fat, or did he put
No.
on like a bunch of muscle?
I think it's a muscle. I mean, in the movie, he's an alcoholic and all he drinks is beer. And I'm thinking, like, you wouldn't look like that. It's not at your age. Like, I don't know. If you look it up, he's here. I'll put a picture in the chat.
Show us the picture, Scarch.
Fucking, there it
Scarch
is.
Really just,
He.
Oh.
I mean,
I guess muscle. I would say.
he's pretty. I mean.
Wait, how do I open?
Oh, you're on a phone, so you might be left out.
Oh, fuck me.
I don't know.
I would say. Yeah, I would say.
Shit.
It's more,
Send it again because it showed it for like 2 seconds.
It delete the message for you.
Just two of the same picture of Ben Affleck in the chat.
I can't see it.
All right, well,
What the hell?
Send it again. It's funny.
You know what? I'll Google it myself.
yeah, check it out later.
Send it again though.
Type in-
It'd be funny.
Well, I'm on my phone. I can do it right now.
Ready?
Ben. Wait, are you sending it?
There it is. There's a third one.
Oh, okay. Hey.
Do you see all three copies of this picture of Ben Affleck?
I do now. Oh, yeah. It's just 3 units.
There's not really.
Damn, he is.
Okay.
Yeah, he's
Yeah, I'd say the
That's a thick-
Batman.
Yeah, Batman definitely helped.
He's got the Batman thing.
Here, check.
going.
Here's another one.
Send it again, but twice. I didn't see it.
Okay.
I'm looking at old messages. I can't see. Damn it! Where the?
There we
You have
go.
to send it 3 times for Nick to see.
Oh, I see. Okay.
See, he's a big.
Damn!
He's a big boy.
Isn't he like? Is he like 6 foot tall? Like, or is he like taller? I don't know.
Yeah, he looks pretty tall.
Tall in that pic.
I think the guy next to him is short too, but
Okay.
Who is that guy next to him? That's not.
he's 6'4".
Okay. See it. Yeah.
Also, I
Pretty
think
tall.
he's dating Anna de Armas, which is unfair.
What's up? I don't like.
Josh, I think you could take him.
Steal his girl.
Dude literally looks like a fucking Russian-made tank next to him.
Mr. Steal Your Girl.
Hold
That
on.
dude on the left kind of does look like Eric Griffin though.
Dude,
He was
Ben Affleck? 90s?
Yeah, if you look at him
Was
from like Dogma versus now,
Dogma or Mallrats or any of that era of
oh, you know what?
Affleck.
That guy next to him, the guy from the way back, his actor's name is Al Madrigal. He was on I'm Dying Up Here.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's Montez from Workaholics. And he is a stand-up. He does stand-up comedy as well.
That's not Eric Griffin.
Eric Griffin is also on I'm Dying Up Here.
Al Madrigal, I'm tripping. You're
Oh, he
right.
also is on. Okay, maybe. I mean,
He plays.
I was
Oh,
thinking
yeah,
he
also-
does look like Eric Griffin. That's why.
Also, this Ben Affleck versus Ben Affleck in the 90s, call him Ben Affleck.
Right.
Because he's like twice the size
He
now.
is not as big.
Damn,
You get it?
man.
Also, that picture that I discovered of Ben Affleck, where he's just looking at the cigarette. All right, it's going in the chat.
He's sending so many pictures of Ben Affleck.
Cigarette.
Ben Affleck cigarette. Viewers at home, type in Ben Affleck cigarette. There's a lot of pictures of him smoking cigarettes, just looking just fucked up.
Damn,
How
he
did I
really
do
is
that?
looking sad. He's really looking even more sad the second time.
If you're playing along at home, there are now 9 pictures of Ben Affleck in the chat.
God, That's a beefy boy.
Yeah. I think he looks better now. This picture, I think the cigarette pictures from a little while ago, but
Looks like he just like killed his wife.
he murdered someone last
Went
week.
outside and smoked.
Murdered a man last Tuesday.
So you know what's? It's still time for films. There's, I think, a hilarious irony in the fact that we've been trying to finish Darkness on the Edge of Town, almost shot the last scene, and now a deadly pandemic has affected the entire world and will continue to prevent us from shooting the last scene. It's just the story.
Wow.
Just the story of how this goes.
This is going. Now we got to make a documentary about the making of Darkness on the Edge of Town.
It's like Apocalypse Now, but in St. Charles, Missouri.
Maybe the coronavirus was the darkness on the edge of town.
And we just couldn't see it coming.
Wait a minute.
I finished reading the book Easy Riders, Raging Bulls. The part about Apocalypse Now was like it took like 3 years to shoot that and 3 years to edit it. Like they started shooting in like 1974. They went there for several months, shot like 7 minutes, and then it started raining and didn't stop from like March to October. And then they went back, shot a little bit more, then went back to edit because they ran out of money, and then came back for like 1 more month and finished it. And then he edited it for like 2.5 years. So it didn't come out till 79. It went like 3 times over budget. Basically shouldn't have been made.
That's what they said at the end of the film.
Okay. Can't be as bad as Roar. Roar was budgeted at $2 million and wound up being 11. And
Roar is just
no, 17. No, I'm wrong. No, it was budgeted at $2 million for 5 years, and it wound up being 11 years and $17 million.
still, yeah. No, Roar in and of itself is just a case study.
I'm looking
from all aspects of a movie.
I did watch Mark Maron's new special.
Oh, I watched that too.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good. Probably my favorite of any of his stand-up that I've seen. I particularly liked the bit about Marvel, the Marvel universe being religion.
Yeah. I thought it was pretty weak, honestly. I feel like
I've never thought that Maron's stand-up was that strong, but yeah, I agree with you in areas it was. But I was entertained.
I think he was a little bit too directly old man humor. Like his thing is that he's an old man and he's a crotchety old guy, but like it's never been like he was actually that out of touch. And so much of this special was actually pretty political and kind of a not that I disagreed with anything he said. It was just kind of like, all right, yeah, I get it. Whereas I think his older stuff, Thinky Pain and Too Real were both really good specials, I thought.
Yeah, Thinky Pain was pretty good.
I like the part where in the new one where he was talking about the sky's on fire or whatever. People are like, actually, the sky is on fire is a good thing. I can't find the fucking Apocalypse Now thing, but anyway.
Scar,
it was crazy.
Fucking blew it.
Basically, that book was entirely just accounts of all the classic movies that we love it's a miracle that they were ever finished or made, and everyone who made them are awful people. Like, every chapter was like, yeah, Scorsese, he cheated on his wife, he was a real piece of shit. Coppola, same thing. Paul Schrader, fucking almost might as well have killed his brother. And it was like, it's just like Spielberg was a fucking nerd, dude. He ruined cinema because he made like popular movies.
That's the worst thing about Spielberg. He was a fucking nerd.
You know what? We need to finish Darkness on the Edge of Town as a scandal. Dan, you got to fuck somebody's mom.
Oh boy.
Okay, well.
Okay, Joe Biden's wife. She looks pretty good.
Joe Biden's.
Can I say that? Can I say that? Is that allowed?
Come again?
Anyway,
I mean, dude's mind, it looks like an alphabet soup, so I mean.
this has been Time for Films.
This is the time for films theme song. It's over.
There was a crawdad boil at this party we went to.
Why that's so funny to me.
Well, at first, we just noticed that there was like little crawdads in the yard at this person's house, and we were like, "What's going on?" Like, it was a kegger, and it was out in this person's backyard, and we were walking around, and there was just crawdads in the grass. And we're like, "What the hell is happening?" And we looked, and there was a table, and there was somebody boiling crawdads, and they spilled out a whole bunch of crawdads. I guess, Josh, were you not there yet?
No.
Oh, okay.
I would have been.
That was Friday. That was Friday during the day, I guess.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
then I wasn't.
Where was this at?
Rolla. We were walking around, and this was like, it was like partially a frat party. And this guy came up to us and just started talking to me and Joe. And he was like, "You guys go here?" And Joe does. And so he said he did. But I was thinking, like, I could tell this guy anything. Yeah, dude, I'm in fucking crawdad engineering.
I'm in Murder Detective. Yeah.
Crawdad technical.
I'm in charge of the crawdads for this joint.
I'm a crawdad detective.
Why no crawl moms?
My job is to investigate every crawdad boil.
Well, this guy also said he was a freshman, so it was like, yeah, he could probably believe anything. Also, crawdads, not exactly a great source of food. You get like one bite out of those things.
I was going to say the yield is not really there.
You like break them open, you get a little piece of the tail. The rest is, you get to see his like little rib cage and all of his fucking guts and stuff. It's like, eesh. It's pretty mellow. Oh, you know what another one was? when we were at that beer pong party, and this guy, the host, had made like a juice drink out of
oh yeah,
some, like, I don't know. Did he tell you what it was made
Hawaiian
of?
punch.
Well, it was Hawaiian.
It was like some Hawaiian punch drink.
It was like Hawaiian punch and vodka and something else. And I was like, let me have some of that. Where is that? And somebody told me it was in the fridge. I go into the fridge. There's several containers of green liquid, and one of them is in a Hawaiian punch thing. So I pour a cup of that, and I'm just like burning through it. I'm like, this tastes pretty good, and it doesn't taste like alcohol. And
oh no.
And like, I drank it really fast. And then I asked somebody, I was like, "Is this just Hawaiian punch?" And he's like, "Where'd you get it?" "It's in the fridge. It was in a, what, like, out of which container? The Hawaiian punch container?" "Yeah, it's just Hawaiian punch." And I was like, "Oh." And it turned out Josh did the same thing.
Yeah. Because you went up to me and was like, "Yeah, like, do you know, like, where the drink..." I'm like, did he ask me, like, where the drink was?
Yeah, I was like, what? So somebody told me it was in the fridge, and I got some
So
drink.
were you trying to drink alcohol?
Yeah.
And you...
and I poured a cup of Hawaiian punch.
The thing is, there was like 3 containers in there. One of them was like a pitcher, and then that left at some point the fridge. And then there was 2 other containers. One that was a Hawaiian punch, and one that was just like a 2-liter like soda bottle. And so they had like 3 containers in there, and like, why just fucking put the vodka in the Hawaiian punch?
Well, since the Hawaiian punch was a key ingredient of this, I figured they would use the bottle.
I know, that's what yeah.
For making it. But no, that was just Hawaiian Punch. And so the guy comes up and I was like, so is this alcohol in here or what? And he was like, no, if you want the good stuff, it's in the other bottle. And I was like, oh, awesome. And then I had some of that and I was like, oh yeah, this has definitely got alcohol in it.
There was the person that legit took some out of the Hawaiian Punch bottle, and then you told him like, yeah, that has nothing in it. And he's like,
Yeah.
whatever. Still drank it.
there was a guy who was like pretty far gone, and he came over and he was pouring out stuff from the Hawaiian Punch thing. And of course the music's really loud and stuff. So I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's Hawaiian Punch. And he was like, what? He's like, Hawaiian Punch. That's all that is. And he was like, whatever. And he was kind of like shaking his head like, don't worry about it. Like, as he was a spy or something trying to fit in.
This reminds me, this brings me to something that I have mentioned on prior podcasts, but I've never actually gotten around to telling the story. The ugly sweater brawl. I've mentioned this before, but I've never actually told the story. So, God, I don't even know what year it was. I know that's like the oldest old person thing I could say, but I don't remember what year it was. I was in high school. I was probably like a freshman, so I guess it would have been 2009, something like that. Anyway, Christmas time. JT, former guest of the podcast, was having a party. He decided to have an ugly sweater party at his parents' house, which is across the street from mine growing up. And we show up. It's a banger. This is like a straight up rager. We got beer pong. We got a lot of people in there. And, you know, everyone's wearing ugly sweaters because that's the whole point of an ugly sweater party. And at one point we wound up, I was outside with a couple of guys, a couple of bigger guys, and particularly a friend of mine, Todd Frumson, who's a big dude, big guy. He was a wrestler, football player. And these three kids from Pattonville School District showed up, and they were trying to get in the party, and they didn't have ugly sweaters. So Todd checked them.
They had beautiful sweaters. Sorry. I thought that was worth it. I hope.
It was. Good job, Dan. So they didn't have. Fuck.
Okay, real quick. You know, the other day when we were at Big A's, Tim, our server, interrupted me, and he said sorry for interrupting you, and then you said no, it's fine.
Oh, it's fine.
You said that you apologized. You said it's fine for me, and I was like,
actually,
I am on the podcast right now.
I did pick up on that, and I felt kind of dumb. I was like, why did I do that?
But the story kept rolling, so it didn't matter. Like, we had no time to address it. Anyway, ugly sweater.
Just kind of dismiss that. So these three kids from Pattonville show up, no ugly sweaters, and Todd, acting as bouncer, checks them. He says, well, because, I mean, this has always been a huge thing. We went to Parkway North, and there's always been a rivalry because of football. There's been a rivalry between Parkway North and Pattonville. And this is not the first time that I have been to a high school party where Parkway got in a fight with Pattonville kids. So these three kids show up, and they don't have ugly sweaters. Todd tells them, come back with ugly sweaters, and we'll talk. And so these three guys leave, and they come back later with like six more dudes. I think two of the original ones that were with them are now wearing ugly sweaters. And they're standing in the street. We're in the yard by the old basketball hoop. We're in the yard, and they're standing in the street. And they kind of get into formation, and there's somebody sitting there, or well, there's a couple of dudes standing there. Similar, I guess it would have been like, we're talking like 9-on-9 probably. And, you know, they're all kind of standing in a formation, like V formation, facing each other, classic standoff. And one of the Pattonville kids walked up, I guess the representative for the group, walked up to this kid, Logan Baisley, who was from Parkway. And he said something, Logan didn't like it. And Logan just boom, headbutts the shit out of the dude. And like as soon as he headbutts the dude, my friend Trevor throws a right hook over his shoulder, hits the other kid, and it just turns into a flat out. The second that the first punch was thrown, JT turns to me and he goes, Nick, run inside and tell everybody with a dick, get outside now. And so I run inside and I go, JT says everybody with a dick, run outside now. And then everybody came out. It was a huge brawl, just a bunch of people in ugly sweaters beating the shit out of these Pattonville kids. A couple of them scattered at a certain point. Eventually, like halfway through the fight, I ran inside and I grabbed my two friends because I was younger. This was an upperclassman party, and I was there with my two friends who were freshmen. And I ran inside and I grabbed my friends. I was like, Joe, ow, my house now. And we fucking book it across the street. And not 60 seconds after we get inside, there were cops coming down all three streets and just closing in on these people. And everybody fucking scattered. One Pattonville dude, this dude had like a airsoft gun or something. And the cops tackled him. It was ridiculous.
I think the best part of that,
Jesus.
the best part of that is that whoever called the cops had to say, there's like 20 people in sweaters fighting right now in public.
Oh,
It's kind
I
of
remember
like
there
a
was-
circus show a little bit.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, it was a scene out of a movie for real. And I remember later that night, there were several people, Parkway kids that, my house was always kind of like a sanctuary for really anybody in the neighborhood, but there were a bunch of people that were seeking,
Asylum.
I guess we'll just say asylum. Yes. People that were seeking asylum at my house, and we all convened. They all came and like hid on my back porch. And I just remember one of our friends that night wound up driving. I don't think he was 21 yet, but he was plastered, and he got in a car and he sideswiped 3 of my neighbors' cars and then took off. They never caught him, but that was a night.
Too bad that music is over.
I feel really, you know who I feel particularly bad for is Bob Fancher of Foo Bar, because he was literally just like this week was supposed to be the first couple shows at Red Flag, and every single touring act canceled. He is only booking local shows.
Everything I have tickets for except Beach Bunny next month has been canceled. And
The only 2 in the next Rage Against the Machine postponed. That's not till May. But aside from Primus and Battles in July, every show I have had planned for the next 5 months has been either canceled or postponed, with the exception of Riot Fest, but that's not till September. But they haven't released any kind of official statement saying anything, and they only announced one headliner so far. Normally they have the lineup out by this time of year, but they only announced My Chemical Romance, and now they haven't released a statement or anything. So as far as I know, it's still on, but that's in September.
yeah, Control Top was canceled.
Oh yeah.
And we were all going to go see Big J Okerson. That was canceled. Weird thing about that, they didn't, I guess they offered a refund, but actually what the email that I got said that I would get credits for another show.
Ah, okay.
Pull one of those moves.
Yeah, kind of. Whatever. I mean, we're probably going to see something else there anyway, but...
Now, I know that,
Hello.
Dan, I don't remember if it was you that I was talking about this with, but in regard to certain festivals, specifically South by Southwest, anybody that bought a ticket, that is not refundable.
Yeah.
It says it on the website, no refunds. And none of those, they're keeping all that money.
Yeah, I saw that about South by Southwest.
I don't know if Riot Fest is like that or not. If they do cancel, if I will be refunded, I already bought my ticket.
I think it should be a special case though, because it's not yourself that's trying to get it refunded. It's an external event that's outside your own control.
Right.
I feel like a refund policy should have it state that if it's you yourself that you're trying to refund it, then that effect should be in place. That there's no refunds.
Right.
But in the event of something like this happening, which is extraordinary, and just like something that you wouldn't imagine happening when you bought the ticket, then you should get a refund for it.
Moon's haunted. Here's your money back.
Moon turned fucking red.
Whoa, the moon is haunted?
Yes.
That's fucking sick. I like that. That should be a movie. Well, I guess they made
On
Ghosts
Moon.
of Mars, but Ghosts of Mars was kind of like, they weren't really ghosts. I mean, they were like aliens. John Carpenter, get your shit
Haunted
together.
Moon.
Haunted Moon.
Just fucking dumbass can't tell between ghosts and aliens. What a fucking loser.
Fucking idiot.
Dumbass.
Guy tries to do one Meatwad impression.
Tweet. All right. Remember how you were going to start your Twitter account? Your second tweet should be at John Carpenter. Do a Meatwad impression.
Technically, I already have a Twitter. I haven't used it. I made it in high school, used it 3 times, and then just never used it again. But I would probably want to do a different username now. Because this was when I was like a huge Odd Future. Not that I'm not still an Odd Future fan, but this was when I was like fanboying. It was at Wolf Daily.
Oof.
In reference to Tyler's alter ego, Wolf Haley. And like every fucking picture that I had was an Odd Future reference.
Flognaw69 on Twitter.
Wasn't the whole point of Cyborg to say fuck Twitter?
I mean, I have it. I have Twitter. I use Twitter. But also fuck Twitter.
Am I going to be depressed if I join Twitter?
Probably.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, Josh, we were talking about this, how Cyborg is like
It's how
weirdly,
it's different now.
It hits a little different in the wake of a pandemic deadly virus. Remember how the news says that a cloud of poison was released?
Yeah.
In the
A
bodies.
monumental cloud of poison was released over Sarajevo.
And the bodies are currently being counted.
Damn.
It's a little...
No, Josh, you got to say fuck.
Fuck.
So anyway,
Awesome time.
been a good episode, good digitally manufactured episode. Keep an eye out.
Good social distancing episode.
Yeah, a socially distant episode. I've been socially distant for years.
I don't give a shit anymore.
I don't give a shit.
Whoa. Whoa.
You know who else was socially distant? The Joker. So anyway, thanks for listening.
I was going to give a closing thought.
Go ahead.
I was going to say to the people of the world, well, you are in solitude. You are practicing your social distancing as you should in this moment. Don't be stagnant. Don't remain stagnant. Don't wake up and go to the couch and then veg out all day, and then don't go bed to couch to bed. Get up, take a shower, keep yourself clean, stay productive, do some laundry,
Drink
do
water.
your taxes,
Wash your
drink
fucking
water,
hands.
stay hydrated. Just generally be good to yourself.
Do exercise videos on YouTube.
Healthy
Yeah.
gamer.
Healthy
Get some
gamer.
sunlight. Go out on your porch. If you have a porch, just go out there. Just be on the porch in the sun.
But don't breathe while you're out there.
Yeah, don't do that.
If you
Also-
are going to hang out on the couch, check out The Space, now available on YouTube
Mm-hmm.
on the 444 channel.
Also, I just realized me and Nick were dead last episode.
Oh yeah, they're back.
Yeah, we're back now. Fine. None happened.
Okay, bye.
All right.
Nothing weird.
Nothing weird.
Nothing weird.
All right, I'm stopping recording.